Hello everyone, my name is Vishakha Umate. Today I am going to present for my Studio One Brownfield National Highway project. We are doing the feasibility of a SG highway, that is NH 147 upgradation. I am focusing on the topics of procurement modality, project planning, legal compliances and resource management. Upgradation of NH 147 is a brownfield highway project which is widening of 4-lane existing pavement to 6-lane. With a paved shoulder and service roads on the both sides of a stretch, it is located in the heart of twin cities of Gujarat, that is Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar city. The project is taken under EPC mode and divided in 4 packages. Its total length is 44.42 kilometers, which has construction of a widening of carriageways, 7 flyovers, 1 elevated corridor of 4.18 kilometers, provision of a service roads, and 2 railway bridges. The duration of a project is 6 years, which includes 24-month construction period and 48 months defect liability period. The project is funded by the client, that is Ministry of Road Transportation and Highway. 50% of a project cost will be borne by the R&B department in Government of Gujarat, which is later deducted annually from the Central Road Fund allocation from the state of Gujarat. The project procurement framework refers to a systematic approach of assessing the procurement modes for the development of SG highway. The engineering procurement modality was chosen in responsible for the maintenance of the project during the defect liability of 48 months, and the financing is done by the client. The procurement strategy is done considering 8 local variables and is assessed based on the impact it will create. The first one is legal framework. Legal framework refers to the laws and policies that are involved in the upgradation of the highway and the level of control they hold in creating an impact or change in the project. And based on the impact it will create under the different modalities, it is noted that the legal framework for the project encourages all the modalities that could apply for the project. Then next is political risk. Political risk refers to the involvement of a political structure or policies or other government activities whose involvement creates an impact on the project. It can be observed that the political risks are comparatively low in 3 modalities, which makes the modality feasible for the project, whereas the rest becomes infeasible for the project because of the comparative higher risk involvement. Then next is tariff sustainability. There is an absence of tariff sustainability in a project as it piles in a non-toll basis. The BOT and TOT modes of the project becomes infeasible. The next is willingness to pay. The highway has been operated on the toll-free basis over a period. It could be referred to consider EPC and item rate procurement modalities. Next is fiscal space. Fiscal space refers to the aid of the project receiving in terms of resources from the government without affecting the financial modes of the project. The very strong fiscal space are due to privatization of the government project. The major benefit of these modes are the ease of funding, as some of the part of the cost are borne by the private entities, risk concessioners, whereas in EPC and item rate contract, complete project costs are to be borne by the government. Next is macroeconomic factor. The factors that affects the economic performance of the country accounts to the macroeconomic factor. The factors will be highly supportive under EPC and item rate contract to be other modalities. Because of the development along the SG highway would pave ways to support the future more developments. Then next is institutional capacity. This refers to the project handling capacity of an organization in terms of the past experiences of organization in handling the similar such projects. EPC and item rate modalities are highly preferred than the other based on the positive impact it has shown in a similar highway project's execution. Then next is size and location. The size of the project can be expressed in terms of the traffic volume it is catering to. EPC mode is highly preferred, which the government begin responsible for the bearing the cost of the execution as well as operation and maintenance of the project. Whereas BOT and TOT will be impossible as they will not be able to recover the expenses of the project. Coming to the inferences for the procurement strategy, the assessment of a possible procurement modality based on the local conditions are summarized in this table. It can be noted that the EPC item rate and operation and maintenance shows an positive impact towards these conditions could be chosen for the project execution, whereas under BOT and TOT certain factors couldn't comply. Project planning refers to the scheduling of a project taking into consideration various activities phase-wise. This is done in MS project. Next is master schedule, displays the sub-project level duration, their tentative starts and finish dates. The total duration of a project comes out to be 297 days. The project implementation phase commencement on 26th May 2018 and is marked to be completed on 24th July 2020. The operation and maintenance phase considered here is 4 years defect liability period, here showing the milestone schedule for all 5 phases, which includes WBS codes, task names and duration of the project. Legal compliances refers to the laws and regulations put forth by the government that needs to be complied upon in order to avoid and planning and scheduling delays which might lead to time and cost overrun. For Environmental Act, clearance is required to be taken by the client in planning and development phase. Water prevention and control, air pollution, noise pollution are required to be taken by EPC contractor during implementation phase for establishment of hot mix plant, batching plant and stone crushing, etc. All vehicles used for the construction will be required PUC certificate for MV Act, which will be taken by EPC contractor. And lastly, the Explosive Act, which would be required EPC contractor for safety, storage and transportation of a diesel and bitumen, etc. According to the National Forest Act, the client will be required to take the permission for the tree cutting and felling during the planning and development stage. For Public Liability and Insurance Act will be referred by EPC contractor for safety, storage and transportations. Then according to the EIA notification latest amendment of 2020, EIA is mandatory in case of alignment passes through the eco-sensitive areas or if it is widening project in the land acquisition is more than 20 meters on the either sides or in case of new alignment or realignment exceeding rupees 100 crores. As the upgradation of NH 147 does not comes under any of this condition, the EIA assessment is not required. Resource management is basically allocating the resources to the executing activities in MSP. It includes material, labor and equipments. Here showing a resource sheet filling the important data that is name, group, type, maximum units and standard rates allocating phase-wise to the project. The sheet consists of 3 major divisions, that is feasibility consultant, authorities engineer and other consultants. Resource allocation phase wise in implementation phase, allocating the resources, we get the time distribution and cost comparison monthly. The early start and the late start are calculated from the resource usage multiplying it with the present value of 7.5% annually and 0.625 monthly. The difference in early start and late start cost gives the variance. We are observing that the late start and early start cost total is same, but when added to the NPV there is a difference. Here it is variance of 6,65,000 which is 2.28%. Only inferring from the results that early start cost is greater than the late start cost, that means the late starting the project may be beneficial.